Hello! Today I'm going to talk about the Hanwei Practical Ninjato. The Practical Ninjato is a straight-bladed Japanese sword made by Hanwei. It has a 1566 carbon steel blade and can be bought from various sites from around $250. The specs should be on screen now. In pretty much every video or text about the ninjato, there will be the discussion about historical accuracy. I might make a separate video about this, since I'm very interested in historical ninjutsu. But for now I will make it short by saying that there is no such thing as a ninja sword made by and for ninjas. But ninja might have picked up something similar looking to this in history at some point. There are some evidence for cheaper, older Japanese blades that were straight. But this is not historical, but it's probably not trying to be either. I will simply talk about whether this is a good blade or not. So, I got this one a year ago and I've been cutting with it regularly. I had some problems with sharpness and have sharpened mine with whetstone bonds. It cuts fine but feels a bit inconsistent. There may be a problem with the heat treatment on mine mold, but I'm not sure and have no way of really finding it out. All I know is that it seems to get dull on top of the blade when cutting harder targets. This very well be my bad cutting technique, and probably is, but I don't have this problem for other swords. The blade itself is appealing enough. It has a straight hamon and a mirror polish on top. It tapers off a bit. The Kisaki has a chisel tip. This is not historical as far as I know and looks kind of bad in my opinion. It gives the sword a more tactical look, rather than something out of Japan. However, the point of it is to make it good at thrusting. So is it? I would answer kind of. Some rougher tests will probably give a better answer, but I'm not too keen on doing it right now, as I might sell it. Research online has shown that it is at least competent thrusting sword, and I have seen it go through pretty tough targets. Balance-wise, the sword feels a bit heavier than necessary on such a small blade. The Kogato and Igato from Hanwei far outshine this in feel. However, those are twice the price as this one as well. It's far from a crowbar, and I will say it's acceptable. The tsuba is a highlight of this sword. Hanwei makes great cast pieces, and I'm rather fond of this one. I wish it was a bit larger, as most ninjato have a bit oversized guard, but that's just a personal gripe. There's nothing wrong with it. It shows Kujikiri hand symbols that has become synonymous with a ninja. Even though it is really not a ninja thing, it's just an old Buddhism thing, and stems back to old Japanese magic practices. Now, the Itsuka is a big downside with this sword, big being the key word here. It's really clunky and oversized. Hanwei has a reputation for making axe handles, and this is the worst example I've handled, which is ironic being a rather small sword. This was a large disappointment for me personally, as I prefer slimmer handles. I have rather small hands. So it has a synthetic Suede Wrap, which is comfortable enough, but stains rather quickly. The race skin is also synthetic and looks rather plasticky. It's colored black, which helps. There is a white version as well, but that looks worse in my opinion. The Itsuka is also glued on, so you can't clean the tang. I think most people who would buy this wouldn't care too much, but a serious collector probably will. The upside is that it's secure. I know some people find this unacceptable, so I have to mention it. There is an upside to the tsuka at least, and that is a rather nice Manuki and Kashira. They are both well cast and nice to look at. The saya is matte black with a backstrap system on instead of the normal Suede Wrap. The fittings holding the cord are two different demon heads holding the strap in their mouths. Having the two demon heads be different looking than each other is a cool detail, and the casting quality is rather nice. However, the problem here is that actually strapping the sword on the back is rather clunky. It's not long enough up in the saya and ends up in an awkward position. This might be different on some belts though. Overall, the saya is quite nice. So, to conclude, the Hanwei Practical Ninjato has some ups and downs. It has a robust blade that seems competently made. My issue with the edge on top does not seem to be common. I have done some research and others said it cuts really well. But I would stick to light and medium targets for this one. It is nice looking, but I personally don't like the tip. The casting quality is really nice for the fittings, and the sword has a unique and nice sign. The big downside here, of course, is the tsuka. It's badly shaped, glued on, and has a cheap feeling wrap. However, I think it's rather sturdy, if nothing else. Today's sword market is different than the time this sword came from. I remember being a kid and reading about the actually functioning ninjato on the Sword Buyer's Guide and being really impressed. But nowadays, the competition is large and there is a truckload of cheap and functional ninjato out there. It's still a really decent sword, but I don't really know if this is the king of cheap but practical ninja swords anymore. Not a bad buy, but beware of the issues. I think it's really worth it if you find it secondhand for a bit cheaper. And if you don't have any issues with the clunky handle. So I think that's about it for this sword. Thanks for watching and have a good night.